This is amusement420 on YouTube. I'm going to do a series of screen recording videos taking a look at Cedar Point's haunted HalloWeekends 20 Years of Fear's website. So let's go back to MAZES. People are speculating that they might repurpose one of these, but they're the same as last year. Eden Musée is a wax museum. There used to be a wax museum at Cedar Point, where the Jack Aldrich Theater is at the front of the park by the Sky Ride. The schedule is the same for all of the indoor haunted mazes. Fridays they open at 8 p.m., Saturdays at 6 p.m., and Sundays at 3 p.m., and all of the line queues are outdoors. I have a video from a couple years ago. Main Street Infield Eden Musée line queue shows where it's inside of Main Street's infield. For that matter, it's Main Street's last season, and I have a 20-minute video on Main Street that I shot recently. It was at dusk, so it looks pretty cool. If you go to my homepage and find Main Street Gets the Axe Last Rites event info, you'll see that on Friday night, September 16th, 2016, which is opening night of Cedar Point's 20th HalloWeekends, they had a special Last Rites closing ceremony for Main Street and a procession with the HalloWeekends parade hearse from Frontier Town to the Dead Ride Cemetery at the front of the park near Raptor. And they are getting rid of it. We're making way for future development in Frontier Town. I think it's going to be a virtual reality family ride area with food and merchandising. It's more of a return on investment than retracking Main Street. If you go to my Main Street burial ceremony, you'll see the procession. And they carried Main Street's entrance sign to the cemetery, and the burial ceremony in which dead Tony Clark threw in pieces of Main Street into its grave. So if you go to my Cedar Point HalloWeekends Defunct Rides Graveyard Tombstone slideshow, that's from 2015. It's a flower bed during the summer, and you can see Raptor behind it. They have tombstones for every ride that they've taken out over the years, including the popular Pirate Ride, which was the last dark ride that they had, which is in the building on the other side of Raptor. When they turned Mantis into Rougarou, its tombstone is actually part of the ride. That's the front of the front car of the train. It's fun they put a skeleton in there. Main Street's Last Rites takes the place of these coffin races that they had last season. I was the only one to record that. You can see that on my YouTube channel. These were Screamsters. The two from Blood on the Bayou are really good. They're doing that at Kings Island's Haunt this year. It's Cedar Point's sister park, and all the parks usually share ideas. Whatever was successful at one park, they try at another one. So you can see that HalloWeekends is more than just mazes and scare zones. Now let's take a look at the maze Eternity Infirmary. Eternity Infirmary's location is near Wave Swinger and Maverick at the back of the park, and they've had other haunted houses in there before. It's based on an insane asylum theme. They have an ambulance prop out front. The Eternity Infirmary building used to be a carousel. It was said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who was the wife of the man who carved the horses. It would mysteriously turn on at night and go backwards, or sometimes employees would notice the horses were in a different position than what they were the night before. Now one thing is there's maintenance that works at night, so they very easily could have turned on the carousel. And I'm not saying as a prank, but because they had to. Cedar Point Hotel Breakers by the beach is said to be haunted. I have a video of Hotel Breakers' view of Cedar Point from 5th floor rotunda windows. I'll eventually have a walkthrough video. But if you turn around, this is the rotunda of the century-old hotel. When you're alone up there, it's kind of creepy. It's very quiet, even though it goes all the way down to the lobby area. One of those rooms that faces the beach was said to be haunted, and they didn't use it anymore. However, someone told me that the reason it was empty is because it went to the fire escape. Those rotunda lights are pretty cool. They're color-changing LEDs. So I have a separate video called Cedar Point Hotel Breakers Rotunda Lights. We'll see if they change the lights to Halloween colors, which are primarily orange and purple. They also decorate it for HalloWeekends, and I'll show a video of that this season. From last season, I have Hotel Breakers Halloween Decor slideshow, and the audio is from the Cedar Point Witch. They have pretty cool creepy photos on the walls. That's the hallway from the entrance to the main lobby. Hotel breakers have been scouted for the classic horror movie The Shining starring Jack Nicholson. They ended up shooting most of it on sound stages in England. But his character went mad because of an evil presence in the hotel. G.A. Beckling's Erie Estate, near Lake Erie if you want to think about it like that, is a big white brick building that used to be the Cedar Point offices. It's located near Planet Spooky, which is Planet Snoopy during the summer. Now G.A. Beckling was a German businessman who's credited for turning Cedar Point into the amusement park and resort destination that we know today. And he did that around the year 1908. Here's some photos I took at the end of August to show you where it's at. This is the white brick building that you can look for. It's across from Planet Snoopy shown here. The area on the right is where the line queue will start. That's looking back towards Planet Snoopy. They set up temporary railings. Then you walk along this side. The line queue continues along the back and then goes along the side. That's the part that faces the main midway of the park, near the Sky Ride and Pagoda Gift Shop. So that door is where you enter. There's people in costumes outside of the entrances of all the haunted mazes. They let groups of people in and tell them the rules. There's a sign on the back door I thought was fun to see. Hex is a witch-themed maze. It had a special building built for it a couple years ago. It's a cool haunted house, but it's a little short, especially compared to Erie Estates. Hex is located near Gatekeeper roller coaster at the front of the park. You get a pretty good view of Gatekeeper from Hex line queue. If you go through the park's main entrance, you go to the right. It's also near the Erie Estates haunted house. If you go to my Dancing Witches Cedar Point HalloWeekends Parade 2015 video, you get a glimpse of the Hex sign. You can see Gatekeeper going up the lift hill in the background. Hex is back over here. Here's photos and a video clip to show you where that's at. So there's Gatekeeper's lift hill. You can see the Hex building to the right. Two gargoyles are the entrance to the line queue, and the exit is on the left. That's the exit door. Looking through a hole in the wooden gate, that parking lot is where they set up temporary railings for the line queue. And the entrance to the maze is where those gargoyles are. Those are actually griffins that represent Gatekeeper. Slaughterhouse is off the Frontier Trail towards the back of the park, where they have all the log cabins and Fort Sandusky. Frontier Trail is a Screamworks scare zone at night. It used to be called Fright Zone a few years ago. Slaughterhouse was new last year. It's meant to be a little edgier and gorier. Of course, it's up to you. And here's their description of it. This is a clip from my Frontier Trail at Night video. Slaughterhouse is located near this barn with the Ohio logo on it. This barn is where the end of Cornstalkers is. So this building right here is the entrance to the Slaughterhouse line queue. You can see Millennium Force's overbanked turn from the line queue of Slaughterhouse. The entrance will be in that building in the back. It's a temporary room set up underneath that roof. There's people in costumes that interact with you, but you walk through that to get to the outdoor line queue on the other side, and the Slaughterhouse is on the other side of that. Here's the entrance sign and a meat wagon prop. Meat wagon is also slang for a vehicle they transport dead bodies in. I think the inside joke is that it's next to the petting farm. In my Cedar Point Premiere Weekend Part 5, Camel Frontier Trail, Millennium Force Skyhawk Wave Swinger video, it's where they had a camel during the summer. You can see they put walls on it, and the sign on the facade says Roadkill Buffet. Alphabetically, Zombie High School at the front of the park is the sixth and final maze we'll look at. If you go through the main entrance of the park, it's right to the left by the carousel. There's a Cleaver High School minibus prop at the front, so that tells you where the entrance is. So you can see the entrance straight back.
I don't think it's that scary.
So you walk through there, and the line queue is set up underneath a picnic shelter. I like to call it Zombie Hive for short. It used to be the haunted mazes toxic tunnel of terror and lair of the vampire, and then it was Club Blood before it was Zombie High School a few years ago. I never really cared for school, so that's the scariest part of it, but it's a pretty fun theme. You can go to cedarpoint.com to see what they have in store for family-friendly Halloween fun. If you go to my amusement420 YouTube page, I also have a Facebook page if you think it's easier to get updates. If you go to the home page on YouTube and click playlists, I have a Cedar Point HalloWeekends playlist with 82 videos so far. I just started a Cedar Point Classic HalloWeekends series. I also have a video called Cedar Point HalloWeekends Jobs Info 2016 and Screamsters Showing How It's Done videos that tells you about the freaky fun jobs, including Screamsters and other positions, as well as a list of pretty cool monster benefits and a link to apply online.